What if the difference between feeling scattered and being fully in control of your day came down to a few simple, repeatable tools? Not hacks, not motivation, but biology, understanding how your brain and body are wired, and using that knowledge to work with yourself instead of against yourself. When you learn to regulate your energy, sharpen your focus, and recover properly, productivity and health stop being separate goals, they become the same system. The connection between daily habits and brain optimization is rooted in how the brain adapts to repeated behaviors through a process known as neuroplasticity. Every action you take on a consistent basis sends signals to your brain about what patterns should be strengthened or weakened. When your daily habits are unstructured or driven by impulse, your brain becomes wired for distraction, inconsistency, and low energy regulation. On the other hand, when you deliberately design simple, repeatable habits, you begin shaping neural circuits that support focus, clarity, and sustained performance. This is not about willpower, but about creating predictable inputs that your brain can rely on. For example, waking up at the same time each day, exposing yourself to natural light, and engaging in even brief movement creates a stable neurological baseline that improves alertness and mood. Similarly, consistent work routines train your brain to enter states of deep focus more easily over time. The key idea is that the brain does not respond well to randomness, but it thrives on patterns. Even small habits, when repeated daily, act as signals that calibrate your internal systems, including attention, motivation, and emotional control. Over time, these signals compound, making productive behaviors feel more automatic rather than forced. This is why relying on motivation alone often fails, because motivation fluctuates while habits provide stability. By focusing on a few core daily behaviors and repeating them consistently, you essentially train your brain to operate at a higher level without needing constant effort, gradually turning discipline into something that feels natural and almost effortless. Simple tools, when used consistently, have a powerful effect on regulating energy, sharpening focus, and improving recovery because they directly influence your nervous system. The body is constantly shifting between states of activation and relaxation, and the way you manage these states determines how productive and mentally clear you feel throughout the day. For example, something as basic as controlled breathing can immediately shift your physiology. Faster, rhythmic breathing can increase alertness when you feel sluggish, while slower breathing with longer exhales helps calm the system when stress levels are high. These are not abstract techniques, they are direct levers into how your brain and body communicate. Another highly effective tool is light exposure. Bright natural light early in the day boosts alertness and helps regulate your internal clock, while reducing artificial light at night supports better sleep and recovery. Hydration is another overlooked factor, as even mild dehydration can reduce cognitive performance and increase fatigue. Strategic breaks also play a role, allowing your brain to reset and avoid burnout from continuous effort. Short pauses, even for a few minutes, can restore attention and improve the quality of your work. Movement, whether it's stretching or a brief walk, can quickly elevate energy levels and improve mood by increasing circulation and oxygen delivery to the brain. The key is that these tools are simple, accessible, and repeatable, yet they have a profound impact when used intentionally. Instead of waiting for energy or focus to appear, you learn to create those states on demand by applying the right inputs at the right time, making your productivity and well-being more consistent and under your control. The nervous system is the control center behind everything you experience in terms of productivity, emotional stability, and physical performance. When it is in a heightened state of stress or chronic overactivation, your ability to think clearly, make decisions, and stay consistent under pressure becomes significantly reduced. You may feel busy but not effective. You may feel tired even after resting. This is often not a problem of effort, but of regulation. The nervous system constantly shifts between sympathetic activation, which is the fight or flight state, and parasympathetic activation, which is the rest and recover state. Productivity suffers when you are stuck too long in either extreme. If you are always in high activation, you burn out quickly, lose focus, and struggle with emotional control. If you are overly relaxed or understimulated, you lack drive and motivation. The key is learning how to consciously shift between these states depending on what you need. For focused work, a moderate level of activation is ideal, where alertness is high but not overwhelming. For recovery, you need to intentionally downshift the system using tools like slow breathing, reduced sensory input, and quiet environments. Over time, this ability to self-regulate becomes one of the most important skills for high performance. It allows you to recover faster from stress, maintain steady energy throughout the day, and avoid the emotional volatility that disrupts consistency. When your nervous system is balanced, your thoughts become clearer, your reactions more measured, and your capacity for sustained effort increases significantly, allowing you to operate from a state of control rather than reaction. Physical movement and mental clarity are deeply connected through the way the body influences brain function. The brain does not operate in isolation. It depends heavily on oxygen delivery, blood flow, and neurochemical balance, all of which are directly affected by how you move your body throughout the day. When movement is reduced for long periods, such as sitting for hours without interruption, cognitive performance begins to decline. Attention becomes fragmented, energy drops, and mental fog increases. On the other hand, even simple forms of movement can rapidly shift this state. Walking, stretching, or light physical activity increases circulation, which enhances the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the brain. This leads to improved alertness and sharper thinking. Movement also triggers the release of key neurochemicals like dopamine and norepinephrine, which are closely tied to motivation, focus, and mood regulation. This is why a short walk can often solve problems that feel difficult when sitting still. It is not just a break, it is a reset of the brain's operating state. Aligning movement with mental work means recognizing when your cognitive performance is declining and using physical activity as a tool to restore it. Instead of forcing focus in a stagnant state, you shift your physiology first, then return to the task with improved clarity. Over time, this creates a feedback loop where the body supports the mind and the mind encourages consistent movement. This alignment also reduces stress accumulation in the nervous system, helping prevent burnout and mental fatigue. When physical movement becomes integrated into your daily rhythm, mental clarity is no longer something you chase, but something you maintain through continuous physiological support. Consistency over intensity is one of the most important principles when it comes to maximizing productivity, physical health, and mental performance, because the human brain and body respond far more effectively to repetition than to occasional extreme effort. Many people make the mistake of trying to optimize their lives through intense bursts of discipline, such as working out excessively for a few days, pushing long hours of work, or attempting drastic lifestyle changes all at once. While this can create short-term momentum, it usually leads to burnout, inconsistency, and eventual regression. The nervous system and metabolic systems are not designed to sustain extreme spikes followed by long periods of inactivity. Instead, they are built to adapt gradually through repeated exposure to manageable stressors. When you perform small actions daily, such as consistent sleep timing, regular movement, focused work sessions, and simple recovery practices, you are reinforcing stable neural pathways and physiological rhythms. These small actions may feel insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound into major improvements in energy, focus, and resilience. The brain prioritizes efficiency, so once a behavior is repeated enough times, it becomes automatic, reducing the need for conscious effort. This is how discipline evolves into identity-based behavior rather than forced action. Intensity, on the other hand, often relies on emotional drive, which naturally fluctuates. That is why sustainable progress cannot depend on motivation alone. Instead, it depends on systems that function even on low-energy days. When you prioritize consistency, you remove the pressure of perfection and create a structure that supports long-term growth. Over weeks and months, these repeated actions reshape both your mental state and physical capacity, leading to a stable foundation of productivity and health that does not collapse under stress or variability in motivation.